Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. You are listening to the premier Kansas City Royals podcast on your airwaves, in your eardrums, and you know what? I don't even know what words I'm saying because I'm just so excited. I'm Jacob Milham. He is Jeremy Greco, and Jeremy, we are recording this just like 10 minutes after the Royals secured the series sweep over the Chicago White Sox.
Woo!
Jeremy, how you feeling, man? Yeah, that's it. Ric Flair?
Woo!
Woo!
All right. That's enough of that, probably.
Get flying.
I'm hyped, baby.
You should
I am
be.
hyped. Some people out there are still negative Nancy's. The Royals are 6-4. They could easily be 8-2. Their Pythagorean record, when I looked before yesterday's game, was 6-2.
Wow. No
They were
way.
averaging, before yesterday's game, they were averaging 4.5 runs a game. They were allowing 2.75 runs a game. Those numbers have improved after yesterday. Actually, the offense might have gone down just a tiny bit because they averaged 4 runs over the last 2 days. But they only allowed 3 runs over the last 2 days. So they're allowing even fewer runs.
It's amazing.
As they mentioned on the broadcast today, we're recording this right after the game finished. The bullpen didn't allow any runs the entire series. Will Smith got demoted to the 8th inning, which I know that it's not necessarily good manners, but I gotta pat my own back here. I told everybody, listen, this bullpen depth is for real. If Will Smith is struggling, he will not be the closer for long. He was the closer for even less time than I thought he would be. James MacArthur is your closer. Chris Stratton is your backup closer. They both picked up saves this weekend. MacArthur got 2. Stratton got 1. And Will Smith pitched a clean 8th. No, it wasn't clean, but it was scoreless.
Yeah.
So good enough. And Q, I gotta tell you, buddy, one of the things I'm real excited about is Q is ready. He is ready to go. Everyone was complaining about the lineup changes last year, and I said, stop it. And everybody was complaining about the bullpen calls last year, and I'm like, who is he going to call? The Ghostbusters are not out there.
No.
He's making changes in a hurry this year. He's making changes that I like. He says, Hunter Renfroe, you're not hitting, you're getting your second day off. Hunter Renfroe, you're not hitting, you're getting demoted to 8th in lineup. He says, Will Smith, you're not closing out games properly. You're blowing the games. You're not closing anymore.
Nope.
He is out here. He is ready to make some moves. This is something that we were not used to seeing under Ned Yost, under Mike Matheny. It was one of Ned Yost's, I think it was Ned Yost, one of his things that he always said was, once I think I want to make a change, give it another week. And there's wisdom to that, I think. There's wisdom to that of saying, yeah, maybe not, let's not rush things. But Q is doing things at a rapid fire pace, and they're paying off. Now, obviously, the White Sox suck. But also, obviously, that's what you're supposed to do to a team that sucks. Sweep them for 4 games. You're supposed to say, yeah, you suck. Give me all your wins. They all belong to me now. You play the good teams. You play them tough. You play tight games. You try to walk away with wins. They could have swept the Orioles. They should have taken 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. They played tight, close games against Minnesota, except for the one where they blew them out of the water.
Ooh, yeah.
This team, and I know we were all ready to panic after those first 2 games. I was right there with you. I was like, that panic button is looking nice. Don't hit it, but I'm looking at it.
Looking good.
I'm thinking about buying it. It's at the bar. I'm thinking maybe I should buy it a drink, but I'm not doing it yet. And we didn't push the panic button, hopefully. Some of you did. That's okay. I forgive you. We've all been with this team for too long. We're all a little traumatized. Yeah. I get it. Unpress the panic button. Drink this in. This is good competitive baseball. They're about to play the Astros. Let's see how they look. They get the off day tomorrow. Then the Astros for a 3-game series. Let's see how they look. this is going to be this is going to be a good test. Every series is a good test. It's the fourth series of the season. There's still a lot to learn about this team. Things could really implode on us real fast. But
Yeah.
I've got good feelings. Our worst start of the year, Alec Marsh today, with I think 4 1/3, 4 2/3 innings, 3 runs allowed. Not great, but not catastrophic. A
No.
game that they still were able to win because he kept them in it for long enough that the bullpen could come in, and the bullpen held.
Yeah.
Angel Zerpa, John Schreiber, Will Smith, James MacArthur. The bullpen held.
They all handled business. That's what matters.
Yep.
And that's what we saw the Kansas City Royals do this weekend. And I get it. Every sweep is a sweep, and that has great meaning. And I'm sure the clubhouse is absolutely rocking right now in Kauffman Stadium, as it should be.
Yeah.
Yes. And I hope that the boys in blue are going to have a good time tonight before they start that series against the Astros on Tuesday. But Jeremy, these last 2 wins have been exactly what this fan base needed to see. On Saturday night, we saw a gritty win. It was a low-scoring affair, but the Royals, they what did Ryan say, Jeremy? They kept
their foot on the throttle today.
Yes. I don't know.
That's not how throttles work.
No,
you do not operate a throttle with your foot.
No, unless I'm misunderstanding something about basic car stuffs. But
last time I checked, cars don't have throttles.
You know what?
Throttles, where I know throttles to be, are in airplanes traditionally.
Oh.
And you operate those with your hand. Cars have the gas pedal, but that's not really a throttle because you're increasing the engine output. Are you going to tell me I'm wrong that it's considered a throttle?
Jeremy, I'm going to say this. Wikipedia's got us beat, I guess.
All right, what's it saying?
So this is what it says: in a motor vehicle, the control used by the driver to regulate power is sometimes called the throttle, accelerator, or gas pedal.
All right. I mean,
I don't know.
I guess
I don't know what
British
shenanigans Ryan Lefevre is up to.
But I literally never heard anyone refer to the accelerator or the gas pedal as a throttle. Not once in my entire life.
Well,
and I've been around for a few years, Jacob.
that you have. You have, and you've been.
I've lived in a variety of places, Jacob.
I'm going to adjust what Ryan said, and they didn't take their foot off the Chicago White Sox throats this weekend. It was Sunday was weird. Sunday's game was really weird. I ain't going to lie to you.
The games always are.
Yeah, you're going to have those in a 162 game season. You're going to have those like, what the hell just happened? What am I watching right now? And like you said, sometimes it just happens on a Sunday when both teams are like moved on, you know?
The thing about, the Sundays are getaway days.
Yeah.
They're the day game after a night game usually. So everybody's a little bit more tired. Everybody's a little bit ready to go home.
Yep.
You're probably not going to see all 9 of the regulars. You might not even see 7 of the regulars. You might only see 6 of them. And today we had Salvi at first base. We had Massey batting, or not Massey, excuse me, Lofton batting third.
Yeah.
We had Garrett Hampson in center. We were with the Sunday getaway day lineup.
Yep.
So even though the Royals are not getting away, I believe they're hosting the Astros on Tuesday. So
they're hosting. They're hosting
so
them.
They're just looking forward to tomorrow, and maybe that's why Chicago looked kind of bad after the 5th inning, was they were like, oh my gosh, just get me out of here, because they are leaving town.
Yes, they are. And I don't think that the South Side friendlies are going to have a good welcome to them when they get back.
South Side former Royals.
Yes. The South Side.
Who could have imagined that modeling your team after the 2019 Kansas City Royals would not work very well?
I am,
as our good friend Lux mentioned on Twitter.
I'm absolutely flabbergasted, Jeremy. I really am.
I thought that they were really onto something for sure.
So let's see. I'm trying to. I am really just trying to think of where to start. I do want to hone in a little bit more on what you spoke about with the bullpen,
Mm-hmm.
because that was unequivocally that was the worst part about the Baltimore series was the bullpen. The
Yeah, worst part
bullpen.
of the season.
Yeah. I wanted to hone in on the Baltimore series because like
Sure.
that was it was just a 3 game set of this is what you don't do as a Major League Baseball bullpen. And the Royals just magically did it in 3 games with 2 walk-off losses. Like you talked about, Will Smith is out as the ninth inning guy, as the high leverage guy, I would assume as well.
Well,
Even
he was the setup guy in the 8th inning today. 2-run
yeah,
lead. It was a safe situation. It just wasn't the 9th inning.
okay, true. Thank you. I didn't even think about that. Um, I was
So he's
very
not been demoted all the way down.
not all the way. He is
But
trending down though.
there's every reason to believe that if his struggles continue, and he did have a scoreless inning today. It wasn't clean, but no one had a clean inning today.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So there was a lot going on, but he had some struggles. If he struggles continue, he'll get demoted further, and it's not going to take long. I think Q has shown us he's going to make moves he's going to make aggressive moves. He's going to say, "Listen, we're not waiting around. This team, I think Q believes in this team's chances to win, and he's going to do everything he can as a manager to maximize those chances, but in a different way from what Matheny was trying to do, where he's going to let guys have opportunities, and then he's going to say, "All right, next guy up." Not
Mm-hmm.
like Matheny, where he was like, "All right, the 3rd inning went poorly, so let's go ahead and go to the bullpen, and now I don't have anybody to pitch."
Yeah.
He's going to say, "All right, Alec Marsh, you were struggling today, buddy." Alec Marsh did not have a great game, but
Nope.
he still let him go as long as he could. So I think that I got to tell you, it looks like a really smart, really I cannot think of the word. I keep trying. The best I can get to it is aggressive. Just a manager who is ready to make decisions and who makes those decisions with confidence, and they're paying off so far 10 games into the year.
I think the word I would use is decisive.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go. That's the one. Good
This
job.
Thank you. I know words and stuffs
I'm
and
glad
things.
somebody on this podcast does.
I just don't know shit about throttles and cars, I guess. But no, it is, and I was in the camp that I let the team record dictate my opinion of Matt Quatrero in his debut managerial season a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think later on in the winter, it seemed like a lot of Royals minds is what I would call them. Guys who write and talk about the Royals and gals as well. And they said, you know what? This is a guy who didn't have a whole lot of talent. This is a guy who had to deal with a lot of injuries, a lot of young players, and at sometimes there's not much that a manager can do in those situations. Okay, so what did the Royals go out and do? They got him that talent. They got guys like Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo. They added to the bullpen. So you're not relying on even if he was healthy, you're not relying on a Carlos Hernandez to go out there and be the setup guy for James McArthur. You're not relying on that. And as much as I would love for them to rely on Walter Pennington being the setup man in the 8th inning, that's not going to happen yet, Jeremy. Okay?
No, but here's the thing: if Will Smith is struggling and Walter Pennington is pushing, it will. And this is the thing that JJ Piccolo has shown us is drastically different from what Dayton Moore used to show us. Is if Will Smith is struggling and Walter Pennington is shoving, Will Smith will be looking for a new job, and Walter Pennington will be up with the big league team. JJ Piccolo is not hanging on to guys too long. I'm going to transition unless you got something else to say.
No, go for it, bro.
Speaking of hanging on to guys too long, and the opposite of doing that when I thought that they might be doing that, MJ Melendez.
Woo, 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 woo.
I owe everyone in the world an apology. I owe MJ Melendez an apology. I owe the fans an apology. I owe the Royals an apology. I said, get this guy out of town. He had a great second half. It's not coming back. You think you're trading low on him, but you're actually trading high. Get rid of him. Get me a pitcher, and let's see what we can do here. And the Royals said, no, we're going to hang on to him.
And you know what, Jeremy, before you start running down his stats, because I know you got those queued up, because you're going to give a heartfelt, informed apology to MJ Melendez. The guy
that comes with hyping the guy up. Yeah, absolutely.
Woo, I love it. He had the game-winning hit on Friday. He had it on Saturday. And then he didn't have the game-winning hit on Sunday, but you can't tell me that hit.
It was the go-ahead run.
What? Oh, was it really? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was doing math in the wrong dimension, I guess. Yes. So I mean, he had the go-ahead run. Yes. Okay. Rabbit hole.
What dimension are you doing math in?
I don't know. In the wrong one, obviously, Jeremy.
Oh boy.
He had the go-ahead run again today. And that's, I think, above all the stats, you want to talk about all this situational hitting stuff that we hear on the broadcast every single Adam Frazier plate appearance.
There's no wrong situation for a home run.
No. Home runs always play. Home runs will always. I will.
You killed my rally.
I will happily take a trip to Dongtown at any given moment. But Jeremy, why don't you read off some of those sweet, cool statistics that make MJ Melendez so wonderful?
MJ Melendez, after today's game, is batting .323 with a .382 OBP, a .742 slug, which is a .419 ISO. .419. That's better than most guys' slugging percentages at the end of the year, and that will be higher than his slugging percentage, or higher than his ISO. That's higher than his ISO will be at the end of the year, but still, 10 games in.
We love it.
He has got a 213 WRC plus. He is more than twice as good as the average MLB hitter right now.
Yeah.
He has 3 home runs. He has 4 doubles and 3 singles. He is walking 9.7% of the time. 8.8% of the time after today. And only striking out 20.6% of the time. Now, those aren't Vinnie Pasquantino numbers, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. But that'll play when your ISO's over 400, okay? That will absolutely play. The dude is just, he is crazy right now. He is willing to hit singles the other way when they load him up to pull, and he is willing to hit the ball over the fence. Now, those numbers are a little bit distorted because yesterday's home run should have been a double.
Yeah,
it was misruled. I thought that was a little weird. I was like, that doesn't seem like that should be the rule. And they said on the broadcast, no, it's not. They screwed up. So, but it is a home run. Good for him.
We're not going to remember. We're not going to put an asterisk next to his name when we're talking about the season as a whole. We're going to count it as a home run.
No, he is literally doing everything right now. His defense in left field is still a little suspect. But I cannot complain about your defense when you have a 213 WRC plus. And if you'll give me a second, I'll pull up his baseball savant numbers, and I bet you, I haven't looked them up yet. Well, I bet
Jeremy, you I do actually have one thing while you're pulling that up. Okay, I gotta ask Google though real quick. Hey Google, what is 213 divided by 8?
Divided by 8 is 26.625.
Okay, so by that, is MJ Melendez worth 2,600 Renfroes, Jeremy? That's the only way I can see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That is
Hunter Renfroe, even after hitting a home run today, his first of the season, has a weighted run created plus of 8.
So here's some baseball savant numbers for you. Batting run value, 90th percentile. Base running run value, 99th percentile.
Whoa.
Dude is not fast, but he runs the bases well.
He's being aggressive as
Fielding
hell.
run
Right?
value, 22nd percentile. Like I said, he's not a good fielder, but he does not have to be if he's going to play left field and he's going to hit like this.
Yep.
His expected WOBA, weighted on base average, so based on how hard he's hitting the ball, launch angles, etc., his expected weighted on base average is 436. His expected batting average is 309. His expected slug, 690. That's 91st, 82nd, 98th percentile. Average exit velocity, 94.5 miles per hour, 94th percentile. His
Jeez.
barrel percentage, 22.7%,
Woo.
96th percentile. He's actually not that slow. I've got him at 27.5 miles per hour or meters per second, or however they measure that. 72nd percentile.
But where that base running value that you're seeing is he is taking so many extra bases so far.
Yeah.
And that's great.
There's nothing as a batter that he is doing. His expected slugging is 690. Let me see if I can find his actual slugging right now. His actual slug is 679.
Dang.
What is that telling you? That's telling you that by the numbers, MJ Melendez might be a little bit unlucky.
Couldn't believe it.
This is not a dude who's like getting bloop doubles and it's just like, well, it looks good in the box score, but is it real? This is a dude who is crushing it.
Yes. His home run today was his weakest hit ball all day.
Yeah.
He had a fly out that had an exit velocity of like 110, and I think his home run was like 100. It's just insane to me. Jeremy, I got to go back to what you said earlier on though. You said his expected slugging was 69.0, right?
Yeah.
So I got one word for you on that. Nice. You see what I did there. Yeah, and MJ Melendez, I think without a doubt, since the last time we spoke, has to be like the most valuable player on the Royals. And he probably stacks up as the most valuable player of like the last 4 days in Major League Baseball. The guy is looking really, really strong heading into this off.
I'm buying MJ Melendez in MLB The Show. Absolutely is what I'm doing right now.
I do have a bone to pick with you on this whole stock thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we said specifically in the last episode we talked about stock that it was not investing advice, okay? I don't know shit
I'm not giving you investing advice in the real stocks. I'll happily give you investing advice in MLB The Show.
No, but that's what we did. And then Fistifer over on our Spotify Q&A, which is where you could answer our questions answers, he said, quote, I tried to buy Michael Garcia and now I'm being investigated for human trafficking. So, Jeremy, we can't even give that advice now.
Don't buy Michael Garcia. Buy Michael Garcia digital cards in MLB The Show. That's your problem.
So, wait, hold on. I'm buying digital cards in MLB The Show, and then I'm sending them to Michael Garcia?
No. You just hold on to those for right now. I'll tell you when to sell them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I think you just sell them to the other players.
Yes.
Or straight back to SDS, San Diego
the digital marketplace, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
I still have not gotten the Show 24, man.
I can't say you're missing out. I'm having a blast with it because that's who I am. It is a real we're completely off the rails now. It's a real struggle right now. They are last year. So first of all, last year I picked it up in midseason. So there was a ton of programs for me to play, lots of stuff to do. This year there is a real struggle in that card flipping just is not working. You just cannot flip cards. The market moves so fast that you buy a card and you're like, I'm going to flip this for like gain a couple thousand stubs. And then immediately it crashes and you can't sell any stub. You can't sell it for anything and you lose money. Stubs, not real money. So I can't get, and they borked up the progression system. It used to be that you got a couple hundred stubs every time you played a game, and now you get like 10. They want you to earn the stubs through the programs, but there aren't a lot of programs to work through right now. There's 5 total programs, and I've already completed 3 of them, and I'm most of the way through the other 2. So like it's a struggle right now, and they're putting and last year like almost all of the cards were like 99s, especially after the first season. So we're still in the first season, so maybe that'll change when we get to the second season. But almost everything was 99. People complained. They said, I want to have a reason to play cards that aren't 99s. And they're like, all right, well, we'll kill the power creep down. They started out this year, you get 85s, 86s. So far, you can get 92s, 93s, but you can only get the 92s, 93s if you spend stubs on the pack store. You cannot earn them through your gameplay right now.
Okay.
And so it's hugely frustrating because you can't get the best cards. And whether that's you're playing PvP, which I suck at and could really use some better cards to try and help me, even though it won't. Or whether you're just like, man, that's a cool card. I would like to have that card. Well, sucks to be you. Like Brady Singer for his opening week performance got a 92, I think it's a 92, it might be a 93 card in the weekly awards pack. But you have to buy it. You can't earn it. And last year, when you were playing through the programs, they gave you at least one choice pack at the end of the program where you could get one of those cards. You wouldn't be able to resell it, but you could at least add it to your team. And this year, they're not doing that. If you want that Brady Singer, you are either buying a pack or you're buying it on the marketplace. And you can't get stubs without buying the stubs right now.
Okay.
They just aren't there. Unless you're, and like I said, I'm investing in a lot of guys. I'm still investing in Michael Garcia, MJ Melendez, Alec Mars, Cole Reagans. I'll probably put some investment into Garrett Crochet. Honestly, he looks pretty good.
He was pretty good today.
But you don't get subs for that immediately. You got to wait for their every 3 weeks roster update, which will increase their ranking. And hope that they increase it as much as you think they're going to increase it, and then you can sell them for more. So that's a slow process for earning stubs, and it means later in the year I might have all the stubs I need, but I do not right now, and it's a little frustrating to me.
Sounds like it, man. Hey,
there's just been your digression into video games for no apparent reason when there's amazing Royals baseball to talk about.
Also play Marvel Midnight Suns and Guardians of the Galaxy on PlayStation. All right, that is our complete digression.
Well, on any platform you want to play them on, I'm not picky. Just play them.
Get them sequels. I need more.
They were so good, Jacob. They're so good.
They are. They really
and
are.
I'm over here playing this. The Reddit is toxic with people who are just fuming, and it's not that bad. I mean, the game is still fun. It's just a little bit frustrating. I have to have a little bit more patience, and patience is not my strong suit. But I'd rather be playing, for sure, Midnight Suns 2.
Yeah, I like that. I think we talk about patience not being your virtue. Well, my man, we went through this whole winter, through this whole spring training just for the first 10 games, and I've already bought my World Series 2024 tickets. So I don't know about you. I'm playing.
I don't go in public spaces anymore, so I probably won't. But I added it to my calendar to make sure I don't miss to turn on the game.
There you go. Smart man. So I think that MJ Melendez on the batting side of things, unquestionably the MVP of the Chicago White Sox series.
The series?
Yes.
Okay. You're just of the Chicago White Sox. I'm like, he doesn't play for the White Sox.
Well, breaking news, they traded him for Nicky Lopez.
Don't trade him now.
Traded him for Nicky Lopez and Gavin Sheets. Honey is joining the podcast for everyone who just heard another person breathing behind me at my head.
No one could hear over your...
I got diagnosed with COVID this morning.
I know. I'm not saying that your normal breathing is loud, although you should hear him snore.
Should you be this close to him with the COVID?
It's cool. I am the only one who hasn't caught it in the last 4.5 years. So.
In our immediate bubbles.
You just want to push your luck now, huh?
Yeah. All of our friends, all of our family have had it except for me.
It's not fun. I don't recommend it.
No, but they've done studies actually that my blood type is more immune to it. So they actually
Sweet.
fight it off better.
Can we trade blood, please?
No
Yes,
blood
man.
Trazies.
Why not?
You're not going to trade blood with Jeremy Greco. What if you get some of his qualities?
He won't even give me his blood for my witchcraft.
Anywho's, all right, we really need to get back on to Kansas City
You can
Royals
cut that
baseball.
part from the
Let's
pod.
talk about Vinnie Pasquantino. I am dying to talk about Vinnie Pasquantino.
Yeah,
Can we talk about Vinnie?
Yeah, let's talk about Vinny, because you got into a exchange on X with someone. I think it was like last night or this morning.
Yeah, it was last night.
Okay.
I was like, Danielle, Royals fan KC, posted that some people are saying it's early, don't get excited. And I said, no, we should get excited because, yeah, it's early, but these are the signs that this is not like a surprise. MJ Melendez hitting is not, I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen, but it's also not a surprise because he was hitting in the second half of last year, and he was hitting during spring training this year. Michael Garcia is not a surprise. We saw him hitting in the Winter League. We saw him hitting in spring training. I told you he was going to hit. Alec Marsh pitching okay is not a surprise. I told you this guy has the stuff. He just needs to figure out some things. And you know, second start wasn't as good. Maybe he hasn't. But the first start was not an outlier that you're like, well, he shouldn't be able to do that. He should be able to do that. Maybe he's inconsistent. Maybe that's what he ends up being, is sometimes he gives you 7 shutout innings. Sometimes he gives you 5 innings, 3 runs. Fifth starter, you can handle that. This is where I'm coming from, is that things have been going so very well for this team. And what I got a response from someone, and I've forgotten your name, and I'm a little sorry, but also I don't want to call you out and be like, you're wrong, and I'm going to spread your name all over the internet. So anyway, who said that half the team is on fire and half the team is in the garbage can. Half the team is not in the garbage can.
No.
Will Smith has been bad. No arguing that.
Yeah.
He has been. Hunter Renfroe has been bad. He had a home run today. Had a pretty important home run today.
Yeah.
But he's been bad.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the garbage fires right now. 2 out of 26 players. And he came back to me and told me Nick Lofton's bad. Adam Frazier's bad. Vinnie Pasquantino is bad. All right. Here's the thing. Adam Frazier. Oh, I lost it. Hang on. I got to pull up my numbers again. Adam Frazier before today, WRC plus 79. Nick Lofton before today, WRC plus 77. Great? No. Backup players, perfectly playable. That's
Absolutely.
fine.
Absolutely.
Fine. And that's what those guys are. They're backup players. Garrett Hampson has a negative 28 WRC plus.
That's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem.
It's a little bit of a problem. Bench player. Don't care. If he's on the bench, I don't care.
But Vinny, though.
Vinnie Pasquantino. He's struggled a little bit. He has got a 1 WRC plus. He did not play today. Got today off. Probably a good day to give him a day off. Tough lefty. He's been in every game, started every game. Sure, give him a day off. Not hitting the ball particularly hard. He does not. I don't think he has an extra base hit yet, which is a little concerning.
Yeah.
Sure. But 10.8% walks and 13.5% strikeouts. The guy is still seeing the ball.
He is. He still has a good plate approach.
So, and that's step 1. Okay. What you got to see is does that guarantee that he's going to come back and be amazing? No. He could suck this year.
Yeah.
But I'm not hitting the panic button on a guy who's seeing the ball as well as Vinnie Pasquantino is, who has the record of success through the minor leagues in his previous major league seasons that Vinnie Pasquantino has. I think that he's he had a lot of time off. He's a little amped up to be back, and he's having some struggles. It's understandable. Not everybody can hit all at the same time. We've played 10 games. There will be Bryce Harper is going to have a bad 10-game stretch this year. Shohei Ohtani is going to have a bad 10-game stretch this year. Mike Trout going to have a bad 10-game stretch this year. Maybe Vinny's is at the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe Vinny sucks. It's possible. Maybe shoulder surgery. He just doesn't have the ability to hit with any kind of oomph anymore. And if he can't hit with any kind of oomph, even his batting eye is not going to cut it.
Nope. Certainly not.
But let's not panic. Like, this is not a complete disaster yet. This is a guy who's still working through some stuff. And when 7 or 8 of your guys in your lineup are hitting, you can give him some time to figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay? Give Vinny the benefit of the doubt. Give him some patience, and we'll see what happens.
So I'm over here sitting here looking at his baseball savant page, and conversely to MJ Melendez's percentile rankings, Vinny's is a whole lot of blue.
Yeah.
And I was hoping at least that, okay, maybe he's just getting a little unlucky. Maybe just a few balls aren't going his way. That happens. That's baseball for you. None of his expected numbers are good. They all
Nope.
rank below the 20th percentile in expected batting average, slugging, weighted on base average, or WOBA for you folks out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the plate approach is still there. It's fine. It's like that will play. But when bat meets ball, that's where Vinny is struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of with you on not hitting the panic, or I am with you on not hitting the panic button on him yet. I think that a little bit of my patience is kind of running out with him because I was so expecting for him to be like the number 3 guy in the lineup immediately right off the bat.
Sure.
And that's, we talked about Michael Garcia playing winter ball, getting really hot, and then kind of starting off the season in that same manner. Well, Vinny, he's got a lot of rust to knock off. He didn't go and play winter ball somewhere. He's still rehabbing, still getting back into playing shape. And I haven't heard anything from the Royals clubhouse that would cause me concern for Vinnie Pasquantino in 2024. Now, if we get to like game 30 and we're still having the same conversation, I've already panicked. It's without question.
I think if we make it as far as game 30 and things aren't improving at all, I think that's reasonable. I'm not ready to write him off yet. I think 10 days is too quick. He's had too much of a history of success.
Yeah.
And I think you can see, maybe Q is as dumb as I am, or maybe I'm as smart as Q, but I think you could see with the way Q has handled things that he's on the same page with me, where, Hunter Renfroe, you're not hitting. Well, you didn't hit last year, so I'm going to go ahead and start demoting you and giving you days off.
Yeah.
Vinnie Pasquantino, you're not hitting. Well, I'm going to be a little bit more patient with you. You're going to keep batting third. I'll give you a day off against a tough lefty, but you'll be right back out there Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at, is like, is it an area of concern? Yes, absolutely. But like, he's not a garbage fire. He's not somebody that you need to immediately cut. He's a guy that you're going to give a little space and see if he can work through it. And if he can't, we're talking 30, 40 games from now and we're saying, it's still not working. Especially if Nick Prado is hitting in the minors. All right, let's have a conversation about, do we need to make a move? And probably let's go ahead and start making moves. Whether that's, demoting Vinny and promoting Nick, or whether it's demoting someone else and promoting Nick and then just kind of giving Vinny some days off.
Truthfully, I would rather, in that case, I would rather them demote Vinny and have him go and play, 5 out of 6 games each series.
It's for me, it's a little bit of where's Vinny's head at? If Q looks at him and says, you just need some days off and you'll get this together, then I'd rather they kept him up. If Q thinks you get demoted, you're not going to get demoralized from being demoted. It's just going to give you an opportunity to pick on some of that AAA pitching. Then, okay, let's do that. So, and that's what we don't know and what Q hopefully does.
Yeah, hopefully so. And I will say this: it's not like Nick Prado's just lighting the world on fire down in AAA. He's got a 250 average, 385 OBP, which would absolutely play. But for a 698 OPS, like that's not It's not making me go get
In
him to the
AAA,
majors.
no.
Yeah.
And how he's 28 now, right?
He's 25.
20. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah.
Still 690. I'm not like, oh, gotta get him back up to the big leagues fast.
Yeah.
Y'all, this is why he got demoted. Y'all
True.
were saying, oh, no, Nick had such a good spring. He's got to make the roster. Well, spring training is one thing. And we talked about the strikeouts and the walks, and we said there's some warning signs here. And lo and behold, he gets to AAA, and things aren't as rosy. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying to give up on Nick either. I'm just saying there's a method to the madness sometimes.
There is. And I think that's where a lot of my optimism rides in this 10-game stretch to start off the season. Every move that they have made so far makes sense. Now, are there some other ones that I'm like, man, do we really have to put Garrett Hampson in the lineup today? Do we have to? I don't like that. But like those are minor details that I don't have the experience or the knowledge to fully comprehend what manager Mac Quatrero does with how his roster is built. And there is genuinely, you're going to take your bumps and bruises throughout the season that you're not going to see pop up on the IL or the injury report. So if guys just need to rest and you have to use your bench players, which is why they're there in the first place, it's kind of hard to fault that. But it seems like common sense is back in the Royals dugout, and I'm very excited for that.
Not just common sense, but a plan.
Yeah.
A real plan for figuring stuff out and for making choices, and not just sitting on your hands and hoping something happens, some miracle saves you from having to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what we haven't even talked about yet today, Jacob?
What?
We haven't talked about the rotation.
Oh my gosh.
We have not talked about how freaking good Cole Reagans has been. Cole Reagans, unhittable. Brady Singer, pretty damn good. Seth Lugo, getting the job done. Michael Wacha didn't have a great first start, but he had a tremendous second start. And of course, Alec Marsh with the tremendous first start, the very mediocre last start. But again, in a full season, you cannot have 7 shutout innings every start.
No.
So I'm gonna cut him some slack on that one too. I'm gonna say let's see what he looks like next time. Let's see what he looks like in a few more times.
Yeah.
If this is the worst it gets, if 4 1/3 and 3 runs is the worst it gets from your number 5 starter, you will take that.
Yeah.
You will say, and everybody else keeps pitching the way they're pitching, you will take that. That would be the best rotation in the major leagues, without a doubt.
Well, and I think that they're still in that conversation because heading into Sunday's game, they were the top team for starting pitching ERA. Number 1. They had a 1.26 ERA in the rotation. And I think that I haven't hammered the rotation home because we're now 2 times through the rotation.
Yep.
And if they can continue this, and you're going to have the odd, weird starts. You're going to,
Sure.
Michael Wacha's going to have an off day. Seth Lugo's going to have an off day.
Clayton
Believe it or
Kershaw
not,
will tell you have bad days, even when you're one of the best.
Exactly. Believe it or not, Cole Reagans is going to have a bad day. It will come. It will happen. But if 4 out of 5 are clicking each turn of the rotation, that is a winning starting pitching rotation in my book.
Even if 3 out of 5 and the other 2 are not just getting shelled.
Yeah.
If they're pitching competitive, like I said, that 4 or 5 innings, 3 or 4 runs, like that's not a good start. But if that's the worst start your rotation sees and you see 3 or 4 other really good starts in that turn through, you're feeling pretty good.
Well, and I think that those performances will rely upon the short hook that we've seen from Mac Quatrero so far,
which hasn't been overly short.
No, it hasn't been overly short, but it has been calculatedly so.
Yeah. Decisive and calculated. Those are 2 words I think that Quatrero has earned as descriptors for himself.
Yeah. Because I think that he would have been, or I think that if he would have left Alec Marsh out to go up against those lefties that Angel Serpa took care of, I think that Marsh would have ended up even worse
Mhm.
in the box score. I don't think that would have gone very well for him. But Cutrero looked at the bullpen and said, okay, let's lean on these guys. That's why they're here. That's why they're rested and ready to go.
Yep.
Marsh, what wasn't your day, man? It's okay. Go sit down. We'll talk. We'll talk about this with Brian Sweeney and Zach Bove and see what went right, see what went wrong, and we'll move on to the next one.
The other thing that has super duper impressed me that makes me even more excited, I think, than anything that the rotation has done is the efficiency with
Oh
which they
yeah.
have pitched. The Even in the last few years when they've gotten good starts from guys, even when Brady Singer was really good in 2022, there was not an efficiency of pitches. There was not a going deep into games. And when you're getting 6 innings consistently, pitching into the 7th inning, you are taking so much pressure off of that bullpen.
Yep.
Now suddenly guys don't have to go 3 days in a row. They don't even often have to go 2 days in a row. And that means they're more rested, they're stronger, they're more confident and they can go out there and really unleash on some guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the rotation is really holding up, not just in keeping guys from scoring, but in keeping guys from scoring for long periods of time.
That's true.
Because 70 pitches and through 7 innings, I mean, come on, that's so good.
It
And they're
is.
still striking guys out. Sorry, Rex. Turns
Yeah.
out that not letting base runners get on is the best way to pitch efficiently.
That is true, and the strikeout is one of the best ways to keep base runners.
I mean, a
off base
3-pitch
paths.
strikeout is a lot better than an 8-pitch walk. Gotta tell you.
Yep, I think it just comes down to simple math.
Or
on
even
that.
a 3-pitch strikeout, 4-pitch strikeout, better than a 12-pitch blue pit.
That's true. I do want to point out something when you were talking about limiting the bullpen pitchers from going back to back. Yeah, I was surprised to see that heading into Sunday's game. That's only they've only had to go back to back with the guy 3 times this season.
Yeah.
Like John Schreiber pitched on April 1st and the 2nd, Will Smith on April 2nd and April 3rd, and then Chris Stratton on April 5th and April 6th. That's it. And if I'm looking at this correctly, yeah, they didn't add another backup iteration or back to back. Excuse
And
me.
you know what else
iteration.
they haven't had to do?
What's that?
They haven't had to demote a guy to promote another reliever because they're out of gas,
Yeah,
which is something they had to do constantly last year.
yeah, they did. Man, that was tough. That
It
really
was.
tough.
And they'll get to the point, when we get to the dog days of summer, they'll get to the point where they're going to have to do that. Guys are not going to be able to go as long into games. Stuff will happen. The rotation will not be this good all year. The bullpen will have to pick up some of the slack, and then, we'll have to rotate some guys through the bullpen. It'll happen, but it'll be okay. Right now, it's looking real good. This is what you want to see right now. You don't want to already be back-to-backing guys all over the place
Yep.
and rotating guys up from AAA. So that's where, it'll happen, but the longer we can go until it happens, the better off everyone's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Two more quick notes before we start wrapping up the episode. First off, you don't want to be 1-8 like the Chicago White Sox are right now.
No. Woo!
It's
That
tough.
hurts.
Today's win, the first come from behind win for the Royals this season, so they got that monkey off their back. And lastly, we talked about this a little bit off air. First sweep of the year for the Kansas City Royals, first series win of the year. And I love that they got the sweep out of the way so early on in the year, especially compared to their first series sweep in 2023 wasn't until July 30th.
Yep.
We're sitting here on April 7th, and they've already got that done.
It was a 4-game sweep.
It
Do you know
was.
how hard it is to sweep even the worst team in 4 games?
Because they
Tell
start
them,
picking
Josh.
up on things.
It's incredibly difficult.
It is. Jeremy, anything else that you could think of that we got to touch on before we get on out of here?
This is very nearly the best case scenario for the Royals after 10 games. No one has gotten hurt. Look at the Twins losing Royce Clayton. Look at the White Sox losing Luis Robert. Look at the Braves losing Spencer Strider. There's at least one other pitcher who went down already.
There's been a couple.
Royals haven't had any injuries yet. And like I said, these are not surprise performances. These are performances that it was reasonable to think this could happen. It wasn't necessarily expected, but it was like, this is within the realm of what seems plausible.
Yep.
Was MJ Melendez hitting, Michael Garcia hitting, Bobby Witt Jr. hitting. Salvador Perez is a little bit of a surprise for me. I don't know how long he's going to hit like this, but hey, he's doing it. Hunter Renfroe is bad. He's not going to be this bad all year. So, there's some guys will cool off, but other guys will heat up.
Yep.
And that is kind of the beauty of what we're seeing right now, is that this is not perfection. This is not all 9 guys just kind of hitting their stride at once. What it is enough guys are hitting their stride so that when one of them starts to fall off, somebody else picks up the slack and you keep winning baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we asked for at the beginning of the year, which is a team that looks like it's going to be competitive in more games than not. They have not been blown out yet. Not once.
Nope.
They have blown out teams twice. They have been in every game they've played. Now, I was frustrated after the first 2 games, and I was like, yeah, sure, they were in it, but does that really count when you only score 1 run? You can quibble about that, but when you're looking at a 10-game stretch, and you say that was the worst it got, was you only scored 1 run, but you were still kind of in it, like, yeah, okay, this is a competitive team. I could not be happier. I could not be more pleased with the way that the Royals have made moves that make sense for their team, not just going out and signing guys, but sign guys that make sense for the team, with the exception of Adam Frazier, Hunter Renfroe. They still don't really get those signings, but a lot of these other signings made sense. They picked guys, they scouted guys, they said, this guy's going to work with the way we do things, and it's happening for the most part. And it's phenomenal. I'm so excited to see what else this baseball season has for us, especially now that we are 110% focused on the on-field product.
Exactly. We can finally move on from some of that off-field stuff that's been not overwhelming, but it's kind of been muddying. Yeah, it was. Thank you, Eddie. It was like clouding. Yeah. The on-field product. Like you said, it was bringing out some of the worst in the Royals fan base. It really was, dude.
And some of the worst in the Royals front office.
Oh,
but,
yeah, that too. that too. A couple more statistic things before we move on. You talked about the Pythag win-loss. After today, the Royals are going to be sitting at 8-2 in that win-loss, which would be the best in baseball, which is amazing to think about. They are now 5-2 against the AL Central, so that's something to keep an eye on. I'm definitely circling that first Detroit Tigers series as of right now, because I think that's going to be the good benchmark. The Guardians they've been getting very unlucky, but their lineup is doing work right now.
That was another one. Another big pitcher went down.
Yeah, Shane Bieber, like one of the top AL pitchers so far this year. Unfortunately, he's gone, but that Guardians factory just churns out starting pitchers like it's nothing. So I'm not worried about that. Not worried about that in the slightest. They're just scoring runs left and right, averaging, what is it now? 5.9 runs per game. As we're sitting here recording this, that's absolutely crazy to me.
Wild.
A run differential of 3.6 runs. That'll play every single game. But you know what? Your Kansas City Royals are still kind of right there with them in a sense. Run differential of 1.9 so far in 9 games. And that only got better today with today's win.
If you're scoring more runs than you're allowing, which the Royals are currently doing, you will typically win more games than you lose. I know this is like rocket science, but it's real. It's real. That's why the Pythagorean record is so interesting, is because it tries to quantify how much that difference in runs scored and runs allowed should mean for the wins usually. And so what that's telling you is, this 6-4 start is not like, oh, they got really lucky on some of that stuff. It's like, no, they earned those 6 wins.
Exactly. And they're according to that same system, they're like 2 games unlucky, and there's only 4 other teams in MLB that have the same unluckiness that the Royals do. The Houston Astros being one of them, unfortunately, and we'll see him later on this week. Cole Reagans, it is. Listen, I'm loving the Cole Reagans bump day jokes around X. Absolutely loving them. I'm not going to repeat them here on air, but if you know what I'm talking about, tip of the hat to you. Cole Reagans will be facing off against the Houston Astros on Tuesday in Kauffman Stadium. First pitch time is going to be 6:40 Kauffman Standard Time. Jeremy, any last call? Anything you want to add?
One more thought for you.
Yeah, what you got?
One of our fans writes. I think this is a fan, not a writer. I think this is a Royals review. It might be a writer because I'm looking at this and it doesn't look like a fan post after all. Not somebody who writes often for Royals Review, anyways. Has kind of a yearly article that talks about how could the Royals get to 90 wins, and kind of plots out the whole season and says, okay, home series you should win. Road series against good teams, you expect to lose. You don't expect any sweeps either way.
Yeah.
And you expect to split 4-game and 2-game series. And so he says the path that Suff 76 has for us so far would have the Royals at this point, they would be expected to go 2-1 against the Twins, 1-2 against the Orioles, and 2-2 against the White Sox, which would put them at 6-4, I believe. No, wait, 5-5 is where they should be right now. 2-1, 1-2, so that's 3-3, and then 2-2, 5-5. So they're ahead of the pace right now on their narrow path to 90 wins. Even though they lost an extra game to the Twins, they picked it up in the sweep against the White Sox.
Yes, that they did. Huh? I like it.
Actually, picked up 2 in the sweep of the White Sox.
Correct.
So
I'll go check that out.
I bookmark that if you want to. I'll send this over to Jacob so he can put it in our show notes.
Yes, please.
It's always an excellent kind of preview of the season. One of my favorite ways to kind of look at like how would we make this work?
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons, actually, was reading this article. This is one of the reasons I was like, I'm not too worried if the Royals don't have a 500 record at the end of April, is because they're playing a lot of good teams. Though their target record should be 18-14, according to Suff. So, they're on the way to that right now.
Yeah.
We're in good shape. So keep it up.
Hey, I'd love to see it. And yeah, go check that article out. Plus some of the other great articles that are up on Royals Review right now. You can visit them on the .com. You can go check them out on X and on Facebook. I truly knew that Royals baseball was back when we saw the alliterative headlines from good friend Greg Walker. I did not realize that I had missed that so much.
I love his headlines.
What was it? It was Royals relievers ruin Reagan's Ruby rupture 4-3. It was great. All right, Jeremy. Before we get to reviews, which I call dibs on the Steven Strasburg for my review, I want to clarify.
All right, go for it.
I do want to go down our Spotify Q&A. So if y'all are first time listeners over on Spotify, you can respond to our polls and Q&As. For all you folks listening to the Royals recaps every day, really, really do appreciate your support in that. And there's a lot of Q&A responses there. I'm going to do a big wrap-up episode on Monday when there's no game, and we could just devote that, and I'll sit down and talk about the responses and stuff like that. But on our last full-length episode with me and Jeremy, I asked who is the Royals MVP so far this season. Very, very small game pool to choose from.
Small.
But a lot of
not even 5% when we ask that question.
Yeah. None of these answers really surprise me, which I absolutely love. Good friend of the podcast, Lux says Cole Gatlin Reagans out there taking shots at the opposing batters and knocking them down. Luke 5747 says, "Can you answer anyone but Bobby?" Garcia, though, man, he is really getting the ball in the air, and this starting pitching is incredible. Yeah, Garcia had a pretty hot start. I feel like he cooled off when he got to Kauffman Stadium, so I'm interested to see how he balances out across the
You
season.
got to remember, it's just a couple of games. You
Yeah.
gotta, like, if he gets 5 hits tomorrow, you're not gonna feel that way anymore.
Exactly.
Or not. Well, if he gets 5 hits tomorrow, it'll be extremely weird.
Because
so if he
they're
gets
not
5
playing a
hits
game tomorrow.
Tuesday,
Yes. If anyone gets a hit on the Royals team right now, tomorrow, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong.
I don't think those count.
No, not at all. We're not counting batting practice out here. Nash fan Sam says Garcia and Reagan's split the award weekend. Very much agree on that. Ginger 620 says it's got to be Bobby, and it isn't close, even with how good the others have been. Reagan's is the runner-up with his 2 very, really good starts so far. Royal Rupert says MVP, the Royals rotation, reverse MVP, the bullpen. I've never heard of a reverse MVP before.
I think you
but
just call that the LVP, don't you?
Yes, I would call it the least valuable player or position in this case. Least valuable position, the bullpen. And then lastly, Frank D. Giovanni says the starting staff. Just as it should be.
It's
Doing
really
historic
hard.
stuff.
It's really hard to not just be super impressed and ecstatic about how the starting rotation has looked this year.
Yeah. We absolutely should be drinking this in.
And Chris Bobich isn't even back yet.
Oh, Josh Taylor isn't here throwing strikeouts for HUD to hate.
Josh Taylor is a reliever. I don't care.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I
rude.
just want my Chris Bobich back.
I know you do. And
I
then
want my Bobich back.
your boo-boo.
My Bobich.
I like it. All right, man. Before we get too crazy in here, which we already kind of have, let's go ahead and knock out our Royals reviews. I'll go and start us off, Jeremy, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I already tipped my hand at what I'm talking about here. I am going to review the end of the Steven Strasburg saga. That is right. The pitcher, former World Series MVP, is officially retired from Major League Baseball. It came across the transaction wire on Saturday. Andrew Golden of the Washington Post does say that Strasburg will be paid the $105 million left on his 7-year, $345 million deal that he signed with the Nationals way back when.
And the Nationals will never not insure their big contracts again.
Nope. They were really trying to get out of that contract, and just because they didn't have their due diligence on their end,
spending dollars to save pennies.
Yep. That's a very good way to put that. Both camps came out and confirmed the news on Sunday. It was Strasburg kind of had some good words towards the Nationals. I will say that. He says that he wished there were more games to be pitched, but he found comfort knowing I left it all out there for the only team I've known. And it was I don't know, Mark Lerner, the Nationals owner, put out a statement, and I just this kind of reads a little slimy to me.
Well, he's a billionaire. I mean, everything they do is covered in slime. I don't know what you expect.
No one can.
I know everyone has just gone. Nothing you say can be trusted anymore. But whatever.
Well, I'll do my rich old man voice too, Jeremy.
Oh, let's go.
No one can dispute the indelible impact he had on our organization. He put us on the map as world champions and changed the face of our franchise. What is the face of your franchise currently, sir? It was Steven Strasburg for a while.
Well, it was also Bryce Harper once upon a time, but then they let him go. Juan Soto, and then they traded him. Ryan Zimmerman, I guess, was the face of the franchise, but he's retired finally.
Gosh, yes.
You're forgetting Jason Worth.
Oh yeah, Jason Worth. Yeah, that's the face of the Nationals franchise.
The
The Phillies.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, my Phillies fanatic in the background for the Phillies. We're not talking about the Phillies. We're talking about the Nationals.
They're both red. They're both in the National League East.
They're both
What's the difference?
red and white, and one is just losing and the other is just winning. I guess that's what they
The
have in
Phillies
common.
are at like 500 right now. They're not having a great start to their year.
No, they're not great.
Leave my team alone.
Oh, Anthony Rendon. He also came from the Nationals.
Anthony Rendon is not anyone's choice for the face of anything.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner plays for Philadelphia now.
That's what I'm saying. They all came up with the Nationals.
Jeez. Sean
Could you-
Doolittle, maybe you could make an argument.
Maybe so. Gio
I mean,
Gonzalez.
he pitched for a bunch of teams, but he kind of made his bones with the Nationals.
That's true. That's true. All right, but all in all, listen, I'm just glad that Strasburg, this is something that was very much out of his control. It's from the clubhouse and from multiple people around that franchise. It sounds like Strasburg handled this about as well as he could.
I don't know what else he was supposed to do.
Yeah, but
It's like when someone complained at me that they really wished the Royals would tell more of their side of the stadium saga, but if they don't answer the request for comment, then I can't be fully blamed for it. I'm like, how can I be partially blamed for it? What do you want me to do?
It's your fault.
Force them to make a comment.
It is your fault, Jeremy. All right, man. I'm rambling at this point now. My COVID brain
Not helping.
Is getting to me. Jeremy, what's your review?
Should I review Shohei Ohtani in another scandal? Should I review that?
Go for it.
Shohei Ohtani hit his first home run as a Dodger. There's a whole thing about how he said that he met with the fan who was reluctant to give the ball up, but had a good talk and got it back. And she says that she never met him and that she was pressured to give the ball up. So I want to love Shohei Ohtani. He is making it a little difficult this year.
10 games in.
So I don't know. Never meet your heroes, etc., etc. That means Chris Bubich, Cole Reagans, Mike Moustakas do not come anywhere near me.
Stay far, far away, no matter the reason. Yeah, that's a mess, man. Because out there on that coast, if there's a story, folks are going to find the sources. It's like anything off kilter happening in New York or in another major market. You have enough resources and enough people looking for that big break that they're going to find a story.
Yep.
Man,
I'd love to review something better, more interesting. Hey, here you go. Game Changer on Dropout TV.
Oh yeah,
it's fun. It's the game show where the game changes every episode. It's a good time. I love it. I'm just like, you turn it on, you're like, what's going to happen today? There was an episode where the three contestants, their partners, were backstage, and they pretended that they had a lie detector machine. So the host was asking them personal questions, and then if they tell a lie, then their partner backstage buzzes them and says no, and they don't know what's happening. They just know that the machine somehow knows things about them. There was another episode where they just had to make the noises, like he's like, be a seagull, and they had to do their best seagull impersonation.
In the world,
all kinds of good, which is what spun off into what got me into Dropout TV in the first place, which was Make Some Noise.
Oh, gotcha.
But there's just college humor was always funny, and Dropout TV has a lot of the same people, same creative minds, with Brennan Lee Mulligan. And I cannot remember the guy's name, but he's a big deal over there. Sam Reich. So there's so much good stuff happening over there.
I remember showing my wife the Batman skits from like back in the early 2010s for Batman.
Yeah, it's a good time. Definitely one of my top streaming services. It's up there with Apple TV, which, by the way, I did start the one that Max recommended a couple of weeks ago.
Was it C?
Huh?
Was it C? No, it was the For All Mankind, right?
For All Mankind, yeah, that's the one. I watched the first episode. I haven't gotten around to watching the rest of it. I was on vacation. I don't watch a lot of TV on vacation. So I plan to go back to it, but the first episode was very interesting. It's got that guy who was in that one show on Netflix that I really liked. He's also Flag in the Suicide Squad movies.
Oh, gotcha.
He's a tremendous actor. So I'm very excited to see more of, like, the thing about him is that he plays kind of assholes, but like in a way that you're like, man, you're not a good person, but also I'm still rooting for you somehow. So I cannot remember his name. Sorry, go look it up on IMDb or Google or whatever. You'll figure it out.
That is why IMDb is there.
Yeah. Literally, that's why it's there.
Yeah.
So good times.
Good times. Great times. But that is going to end the good times here on this podcast episode. Please check it. If we talked about any articles, they're linked down in the podcast description below. So go check them out there. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do that too. That's down in the podcast description. But first and foremost, go check out all the great work that goes on over at RoyalsReview.com. They make this podcast happen, and we are deeply grateful for that. For everyone out there listening, we look forward to being back in your podcast feed on Thursday morning with another full-length episode. And as always, until next time, go Royals!